Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the man who is known as the architect of the Constitution of India, the man who is believed to be a real leader for the depressed classes. To his personality, there is so much that we need to know, we need to understand, and much of his teachings need to be imbibed to make the idea of modern India more realistic, more fruitful. Today, 6th of December is the day of his Mahaparinirvana, the day when he left us and left behind a void which could not be filled by any leader of the same stature who can think so constructive, who can think so very well about bringing about real social equality in this society. Let's try understand his teachings, his ideas, and relate them with the idea of modern India today. Some of the important facts relating to the pre-exam which can be asked. Dr. Saab was born in 1891 in Mao, Madhya Pradesh. We all know that he was a great social reformer, a jurist, an economist, author, polyglot, orator, and a scholar and thinker of comparative religions. He is known as father of Indian Constitution. He was India's first law minister and participated in all the 3 sessions of the Round Table Conference in London that happened from 1930 to 32. He converted to Buddhism in Nagpur, and that is why it is called the Diksha Bhumi, where he he embraced Buddhism. He passed away on 6th of December 1956 in Delhi. It is called Mahaparinirvan Bhumi of Dr. Saab. Chaitya Bhumi is a memorial to Dr. Ambedkar located at Mumbai or located in Mumbai. These are some of the important facts related to his life. Now let's have a look at the idea of democracy as per Dr. Saab's viewpoint. When he talks about democracy, and specifically democracy as it relates to India, he is not in sync with the idea given by the greats like Abraham Lincoln that democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. He went ahead of that idea and he talks about that democracy refers to the fundamental changes in the social and economic life of the people. He is not talking about the political idea per se, he is talking about the social and economic idea as well, and the acceptance of those changes by people without resorting to disputes and bloodshed. He talks about a peaceful transformation of society where social and economic democracy must precede the success of political democracy. He desired to remove contradiction created by economic and social inequalities. He said, we must make our political democracy a social democracy as well, and political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. That means the idea of social equality, the idea of no discrimination on any grounds should be the rock bottom for the success of the idea of political democracy. Dr. Saab was perhaps the first Indian political thinker who realized the inapplicability of the Western pattern of democracy to India. No, being a caste divided society, a society with so much of heterogeneity, a society with so much of diversity, one idea that has been successful in West cannot be successful in India, and that is where he created the difference. Continuing from here, let's look at the idea that how and in what ways he can be seen as an architect of modern India as well. So guys, it is not just his contribution in shaping the modern India that is limited to the framing of constitution or standing up for the rights of Dalits or some of the social religious reforms that he talked about. We need to know much more about him. In 1936, about more than a decade before independence, Dr. Saab founded the Independent Labour Party, right? For what? To champion the cause of workers when even Congress was ambivalent about the issue. Congress itself has not been started voicing their concerns in one such way that their problems should get the proper solution. His party demanded strong labor laws and remunerative wages to fix maximum hours of work, leave with pay, and sanitary dwelling at reasonable amount. He was talking about the things at that time when in India the labor legislations were very weak, and he was standing up for the rights of the workers irrespective of the caste though. It advocated an extensive program for the improvement of educational facility in technical institutes and an end of feudal practices and mindset. He was talking about one such India where merit should only be the consideration. He was instrumental in reducing the factory hours from 14 to 8 hours. His role was very important in this. He is also credited in framing various laws for welfare of women laborers. Mention worthy among them are Women Labor Welfare, Women and Child Labor Protection Act, and Maternity Benefits for Women. Indian Factory Act was framed under his supervision. Due to his untiring efforts, National Employment Agency Employment Exchange came into being. He was also very important when we talks about Employee State Insurance ESI scheme for providing workers with medical care and compensation for injuries, insurance, and the things like. Dr. Saab was playing instrumental role in much more that you can see. Let's talk about some of the important things that he has done. To his credit goes various welfare initiatives for workers, such as providing them with dearness allowance, leave benefit, and then we can talk about his important role in Indian Trade Union Amendment Bill 1943 that talks about compulsory recognition of trade unions. So these are some of those very important contributions that make Dr. Ambedkar's name stand very tall in the idea of making modern India. Now, if we talk about his economic contributions, there are many things that come to the mind. For example, he wrote 3 important works on Indian economy. This can again be an important question in your pre. Administration and Finance of East India Company. This is one. The evolution of the provincial finance in British India 2. And the third one, the problem of the rupee, its origin and its solutions. These are 3 very important books written by Dr. Ambedkar. Then the institution of Reserve Bank of India was based on the ideas that Dr. Ambedkar presented to the Hilton Young Commission. Today in this lecture, I would appreciate if you guys in the comment box can write something about this Hilton Young Commission and its relation to the creation of RBI. Right? These are very important facts for your pre. He was also the architect of Finance Commission of India, which is among the most important constitutional bodies today. And when we talk about Finance Commission, Article 280 is the thing that should come to mind. In the chat box, if in the comment section, you can again write something about the composition, the functioning, the limitations of Finance Commission, the controversies related to Finance Commission. We will appreciate and evaluate what you write in the comment section. Then talking about agriculture and land reforms, Dr. Ambedkar wrote something about agriculture in Small Holdings in India and Their Remedies 1917 and Status and Minorities 1947. Dr. Saab played very important role in the final Land Ceiling Act that was passed on the basis of his ideas that the productivity of land will depend not just on the size but also on the resources. This was again a very important concept given by Dr. Ambedkar. He was also talking about nationalization of industries, so the idea of that mixed economy had its roots in the ideas of Dr. Ambedkar. He was talking about that the major industries should be nationalized, while private industries which are not very keen to come forward at that time, they should be allowed their existence as well. But nationalization of key industries was the idea that he gave. Then he was talking about democratic state socialism. This was again very important concept. Things like maintenance of productive resources by state, just distribution of common produce, and ideas like basic industry should be owned and run by the state, insurance and agriculture should be nationalized and managed by the state, to talk about some of his ideas of state socialism or democratic state socialism. Then Dr. Saab was talking about free enterprises in the economic sector, and he was almost a century ahead of what India did in 1990s. So he was talking about the ideas of free economy, globalization, liberalization and privatization in 1923 itself. Right? His ideas were way ahead of the time. He was also talking about family planning. He was talking about the economic upliftment of the women, and his idea of the concept of human capital was very important to understand. If there is no equality, then much of the human capital, much of the human resource will go waste. This very idea of caste system will deny us much of the talent, much of the human resource will go waste. So what we need to do, we need to create that atmosphere, that environment where equality, be it social, be it economic, be it political, must prevail. These are some of the great ideas of the great personality of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. We will continue with these kind of lectures in future as well, where we will bring much important facts for you at one place for your meaningful preparation of UPSC civil service and other such like competitive exams. Best of luck.